So clearly they endured. Something pretty intense.
There was 2 women.
Yes.
And 7 guys. So
Right.
to me, that's a problem already.
Eyebrows missing, burn marks, eyeballs missing, tongue missing. You know,
the bones decaying to that degree in just 4 years. I just don't see that type of decay going.
there's just so much that's off about on both sides. Both sides seem real suspect. I know it's the South, so maybe dental records are a bit trickier down there because they only have maybe 1 or 2 teeth to identify them by.
Have you guys ever had that? Like, you've driven by a house out in the middle of nowhere, you're like, I wonder who lives there. What's going on?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be one of those.
All right. Let's bring everybody back up here. Sorry for the mess up there in the beginning. It's been a while since we've been on StreamYard, but I wanted to give it a shot. We're also running a little late, but that's my fault. Time zone change, which is ridiculous. We talked about that for a second. So Vinnie was delayed because of me. I just want to clear the air. It was my fault.
Let's get into Dr. Strangelove short for this.
Let's get into this, guys. Okay, so Sean, man, it's been a little while. Let's get everybody's introductions in. How you been, dude?
Been okay. Just been very busy with teaching college and doing stand-up about every dang weekend that there is, and it's not stopping anytime soon. I'm very blessed.
That's what's up, man. You're on spring break right now. Jan, what's up? Hello. Welcome in. Spring break's always well needed.
Oh yeah, I was suffering some severe burnout, like severe burnout, but getting better.
All right, we're gonna give you a little break away from it all for the next hour or so. Ev.O.Lution, man, what is up?
Hey man, I am up for once. I'm usually sleeping right about now, but everything is good. A lot of plans on future stuff in the works. Some of it, I've made people aware of. Some of it, not so much. But very, very busy. Continuing the podcast.
Yep. It's tough when you're doing it across the world with your wife, though, man. That's crazy.
Absolutely. We are still getting the kinks out with that. And but yeah,
you naughty boy, Stanford.
well needed.
Send me more pictures of your feet.
Hey, Sean, Jan did ask where you teach.
I teach at Lake Michigan College. I teach English, creative writing, and improv in their theater division. And online, I teach English and creative writing with SNHU.
All right, there we go. Vinnie, man, Vinnie. Do you want to actually go ahead and finish?
Yeah, sorry, Vinnie kind of made me chuckle a little bit.
Apologies.
But yeah, we're gonna be shooting at what's going on now here in the next week or so, and I'll also be continuing the Journey 3 and setting up the Journey 4 while I'm there. So a lot of stuff going on.
Yep. Journey is a documentary that I've helped Ev.O.Lution put together. We got
Sean, what you doing?
We've got 2 of them out there. We've got 2 of them out there. Third's in the works, and then there's a 4th coming.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned for that stuff. Vinnie, man, how have you been?
I'm good. I'm just looking. My beard's getting too long. I've been just itching it since I got on camera. I need a shave, bro. I need to trim.
That's fine.
This
Your lighting's not that great, so you can't tell.
Shut your face. How dare you? How dare you? Better than your timekeeping at me,
That's 100% on me, bro.
Yeah. I'm
on this side of the screen. On this side of the screen, you got beards, and on this side, you got smooth.
That's a
face.
good point. That's a good
God, game
point.
of basketball going 2-on-2.5 court.
I think actually, Vinny, I don't know how much hair you have on your head, but I think Sean might have us beat by head hair.
Yeah, oh, mine's about the same, but I'm not putting my hat because it's messy.
Jen
So it's why I'm wearing a hat, so I don't have to gel my
says
hair.
a beard can never be too long, Vinny.
Ah,
So
there you
there's
go.
that.
Oh, depends where it's located.
A quick announcement. Actually, since our show last week, Vinny, we've gained another 200 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice.
We're at 11 million this month views. We are officially monetized. Our store is available to set up, so we got to start looking at doing some merch.
Absolutely.
And there's the one video that kind of took off and blew up the channel, which I want to give some shout out to her, which we're going to be interviewing her next week. But I felt like it was necessary. Yes, that's your sex tape. But yeah, no, exciting. I mean, it's big things for JG's Lounge. We've been going for 7 years now, and everybody on here is a part of it and has been. Actually, Ev.O.Lution, I think you've been on the shortest amount of time, but you've produced probably just as much or more content in the little bit of time that you've been on the network as we have on here.
Well, I try. And I haven't slacked off, but there's been some time changes and schedule changes that interfere with my progress. But I'm getting those kinks out too, Vinny.
All right, so none of you are familiar with today's case, which is fantastic because we all know how Singe goes. It's better when you guys don't know. But Vinny, are you familiar? I asked them before you popped on. Are you familiar with the Mormon belief at all?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's going to play a lot into this. Jan, you probably know some of it too. So the story.
What's going on with Sean?
This the story. It starts. It's the main focus on here is this Ruby Frank character. She's the one in the middle. In 2015, she decided, hey, I want to be a vlogger. So she started this YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. It's her husband, Kevin, the oldest two. I have the names pulled up on my phone here. Hold on just a second. The oldest child is Shari. She's right next to Ruby to the left. And then you've got Chad up top. When she first started blogging, Shari was 12 and Chad was 11. And this was a YouTube channel, and she was this Mormon stay-at-home mother. Kevin was the one who brought home the bacon, and she starts. Yeah. First off, 6 children. What the heck? I mean, is that like pretty common for like Mormon families to have a bunch of kids?
Yeah,
One wife's not coming.
I think the only thing I know about them is they don't believe in birth control or something like that.
They usually believe in polygamy, don't they?
What's that?
Well, there's certain
6
ones. Yes, I do know that there are different levels of Mormonism where polygamy is allowed, but I don't think the primary.
So, is it like if you become platinum Mormon, you're allowed to have 2 wives?
You have to pay if you pay 20%. If you invest 20% into the church, then you're the premier.
It's like 4K Mormon. Mormon plus.
I did not know that, but yes, and apparently, I don't think that like divorce isn't like a huge thing there in the Mormon belief. I do know that Kevin, when she starts vlogging, he gets interviewed in a lot of the documentaries out there, and he talks about how I was kind of shy and introverted. I didn't really want to be seen. But after a few months and she starts growing, they grow because a lot of these Mormon moms are like, hey, she's like posting stuff about their family. It's different. So she starts growing this following because of that. And they're watching her day-to-day life with her kids. And they bring in some money. Kevin even talks about, he's like, I had no interest until she got her first check for like $85. He's like, it wasn't much, but it was like, wow, there's money in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, they're racking in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
Wow.
Like they just blew up. And so they go full force into just vlogging everything all the time. And I've never had that kind of, mindset growing up of that, because it wasn't really a thing as a kid when I was, in the 90s. So I can't imagine what that was like for the children, because I doubt they asked them, hey, are you fine with us recording you? Like, what do you guys think about that?
They didn't have a choice, dude. Are you kidding me?
You invite us on.
Yeah, I think it's tough. That's the first topic I kind of wanted to hit on, because of that. I feel like might damage the kids, and the oldest and they're interviewed in a lot of the documentaries as well, and they talk about how like they didn't have friends, like people made fun of them at school, and they actually chose to not have friends because of the things that they did with the cameras. Neighbors talk about how they hated that she was constantly recording them, but they'd watch her content, but she never asked permission. Was this Jan just put up? According to Google, the Mormon Church discontinued the practice of polygamy in 1890 and excommunicates any member who practices. They have, but there's shows.
Yeah,
there's shows out.
Sister wives.
There was a documentary as well about the Mormon hierarchy, that were a lot of them had child brides and arranged marriages, and there was a big federal case in America a few years ago, and the top echelons of the Mormon religion were all arrested and prosecuted and indicted for polygamy and
message.
Sorry.
I did not mean to start that. Sorry. That's coming up. That's coming up later. That's coming up in a few minutes. Calm down. Anyways, Vinny, sorry for interrupting. Go ahead and finish. I was just trying.
I was just going to say, I think it's the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints in Utah. And I watched a documentary about it a few years ago. And the guys that started that sect of Mormonism, they practiced polygamy, and there was arranged marriages. And the federal, the FBI got involved because polygamy is against the law. And it's also, they were arranging marriages and having sex with 12-year-olds and 13-year-old girls. And it was crazy. There was the top guy was arrested, and I think his son or something. There was a guy who pretty much started it. He died. He had a shit ton of wives. His son replaced him. And then his son actually married some of his own mother wives or whatever, his mother-in-laws, and they became his. So yeah, just check it out. I'll get their name, but yeah, it was they all got arrested. The top tiers of the Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints sect of Mormonism because of polygamy and arranged marriages.
Wow.
I did not know that. That's crazy. I did know. I know that there's been videos of people getting pulled over and having trailers full of wives in Utah, because they were illegally doing it. Yeah. Yes. I'll have to look. No, pulling him behind a truck, kind of with
That's what I'm saying, like a construction trailer or a horse.
Anybody that checks this out, I will follow up with this, because I'm sure I can find a clip, but they are out there. Anyways, so it's over the next 2 years.
So that guy's name was Warren Jeffs, and he got life in prison. A polygamous sect leader gets the life in jail. His name is Warren Jeffs, and he took over from his father. So just
interesting. I love that we have multiple people that can look things up. It's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's great. I love actually fact checking, because I don't know how many times I'll follow up because I had to correct something from a prior show. But research is never 100% accurate, so that's why you correct it.
I like throwing in tidbits as well, because if people want to follow it up after the show or whatever.
Yes, and that's why I try not to go too in depth with the topics, because there's a lot of documentaries out on this topic. So over the next 2 years, her following is so massive. Well, then there's reports to CDS of kind of how she's disciplining the kids, and they don't agree with it. Hey, go check out on this family. And I'm going to play this video, and I'll probably pause it a few times so we can discuss it. Cause I think there's 2 or 3 different clips in one. So I'm going to start it right now, guys. And then,
a text message from Eve's teacher. And she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
Okay, let's stop there. Right.
Whoa.
Wait, hold on. How old? How old
6.
is he?
The kid was 6.
Mother. Okay, look. All right. Oof. All right. So I might be. Evo, if you don't mind, how old are you?
55.
Okay. All right. So I'm 50. So we're from pretty much the same generation, Gen X, hard ass parenting. Look, I was working in my grandfather's factory packing parts when I was 8 years old, and I was helping him put together his damn warehousing and driving forklifts when I was 10. Okay. That's the generation I came from. We made dinner for our parents. And if social media was a thing back then, we wouldn't have a choice. We just did what we were told. That's the whole thing about being latchkey kids. We handled the shit. But a part of me is like, well, yeah, if you didn't do your thing, you will go hungry, and next time you will remember to make your damn lunch. But the kid is 6.
Right.
Like,
Is that
about?
preschool? I think that's preschool. I don't even think that's kindergarten yet. Or is that, it might be kindergarten for some.
It might be kindergarten.
Kindergarten, barely scratching first grade. I mean, I don't know. That's super early, dude.
Right.
Even if the little girl was responsible for making her breakfast, lunch, whatever, and didn't, the comment she made was, then she would need to be hungry, I guess, as a result of that. And then she said further that she hopes no one else gives her anything to eat. That right there is what really struck a nerve with me. I mean, everything else is disturbing, but that comment was really, messed up.
Yeah.
Or how about the dismissive, like, oh, well, I guess the teacher's going to be uncomfortable if she's hungry. It's like, nah. Oh, wait, we can't.
You can cuss on. You can cuss on any of this stuff, man.
Nah, bitch. The kid is the uncomfortable one. How about that? That's just what? How? And she has one freaking job. She's the mom. She's not going out working. You have one job, is to take care of those kids in the household while you're there. The dude is out doing his Mormon Kevining thing. You're at home, take care of the kids, make the freaking lunches. But what am I missing here?
What do you got, Vinny?
I agree with the guys. Like, as a parent, your job is to make sure your kid is fed. Make sure your kid is safe. These are it doesn't matter what your parental style is. There's certain doctrines to being a parent. Your job is to keep your child safe, keep your child fed, make sure your child gets educated, make sure your child has a certain outlook on life. These doctrines can't be varied by parental style. You can be strict, you can be laissez-faire, you can be whatever. But as long as you keep that child fed, you keep that child safe, you keep that child educated, and you give that child a specific outlook on life so they can develop as a person, then you've done your job. But if you don't hit those parameters, then you're not just a neglectful parent, you're a bad human being. Because the child is 6. I don't care if the child's intelligent. I don't care. Like, people always say that. I was like, oh, my kid is advanced. Advanced for a 6-year-old, maybe, but still a fucking 6-year-old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, that child doesn't understand responsibility. It's not about reasoning. It's about responsibility. That kid doesn't understand the ramifications of his action, because it's like, he doesn't understand, if I don't pack my lunch, I'm going to be hungry in 4 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's little things. Like, so there's one thing. I'm sorry. You go ahead and finish. Sorry. No, I was just going to say, at the end of the day, it's the mother's responsibility to make sure the kid's fed, not the teacher, not the kid. It's the mother.
Right. Boom. Now, here's the crazy thing, though. Okay, so Kevin, her husband, I mean, he's now at this point like full force involved. Like, this is a business. All 6 of the kids are employed. Like, they have money coming. Yes, like, they're making money. And they think that their rise to fame is because what they are doing is right. Like their mind is God's blessing them with all of this because they're doing, and they should continue doing this. So Kevin's just riding shotgun through this whole like development of this family's YouTube. What up, Sean?
I haven't watched any of the Psycho's videos, but I'm assuming that the reason they're popular is because it was naught but exploitation of the kids and insanity. Am I guessing correctly?
So the disciplining, I think, might actually be, obviously at this point it's getting extreme, but whatever they were doing did get them growth. Like there's a lot of Mormon mothers and families that are following them. So I think that the discipline aspect is probably similarly in line with the belief, but it obviously is starting to cross the line at this point. And that's when people are starting to reach out like, and they're also getting this fame. So they're getting pushed out on YouTube. So they're probably starting to grow following that is not of the Mormon belief. So they're like, well, that's not accurate. Like that's not. So that's when they're starting to reach out to CDS and kind of say, hey, but CDS doesn't even show up till 2020, but we'll get to that. What's up, Vinnie?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Like the practices, like the point you hit on there now, like, so they gained growth from how she was behaving originally. And then because of her growth, she had non-secular or whatever viewership. So what's she doing? Is this common practice for Mormons? Like to give their kids extra responsibility from a young age, be really strict, like, that kind of thing? Like,
yeah.
Like, so is this a case of like she was just acting within the bounds of her faith? And
well, like, okay, so what I know from a Pentecostal background, and like I said, my family comes from a Mormon background. Actually, I still have a good chunk of my family in Utah that are still Mormons. I don't really talk to them. Actually, I don't talk to any of my family, but that I grew up going to church 4 days a week, and like anything that was secular, you weren't supposed to be involved with. It was to the point where my cousin came out being lesbian and they locked her in a room for 2 weeks and said, you can't be. Like, just extreme, pretty extreme, which I didn't realize till I was older. What's up?
So they thought she was lesbian, so they locked her in a room. Did have a closet? They're not helping the situation.
Yes, this is better.
You came out with her and you get right back in.
Dude. The timing was great. Many of the timing was great. That's good.
Like, where is she? No, again.
Anyways, I'm pretty sure that the Mormon discipline is greater. I don't know, but I know that I came from a pretty strict upbringing as far as like belief versus non-belief. Even going to a public school, some of the stuff that I learned was kind of regulated through the church.
Were they strict though? Your parents, like the way they raised you, were they similar to her?
A very hypocritical family. Very hypocritical. I don't want to go too much into it on this, but we could talk about it sometime. I'm actually open to talk about it because it's messed up.
I just mean comparatively, because you have a baseline. When you looked at her videos and you did the research, did her parenting style seem familiar to you?
I don't think so, because my situation was definitely more hypocritical from the Christian belief of what I learned out in public was not the same as what I learned in home. Like it was very hidden, but I thought it was normal. Because I remember when my mom left my stepdad at like 12 or 13. The next day, I was not, no. But so I was abused, pretty bad until I was like 12 or 13 and for like 7 years. But I thought that was normal. So when I go to church or go to school, go to church, I didn't talk about it because I thought it was normal. Yeah. So when we escaped it, it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like, wait, that's not everyday life. Like it was weird for me. It was like, so I get the illusion that comes with this story. Like I can kind of understand it to a point, So that's the best. That's all I can say. Yeah. What do you guys got? Anything before we continue with the next clip?
No, I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do this.
One more time, and then you're going to lose the privilege to eat dinner.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months, and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, yeah, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's been in my head. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made it go neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, he's like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses.
That's so wrong. It's awesome.
She took his room for that, though. She kicked him out of his room. She took his bed and made him sleep on a beanbag for 7 months.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's a bit extreme, but everything I'm hearing so far, look, we have grown soft as a culture.
I don't disagree.
Kids, it is ridiculous. And this whole thing of, well, if you don't like what we've cooked tonight, freaking go hungry, dude. Like, you didn't pay for it. You subsist solely on us. And if you're going to be so petulant as to demand other food, you know what? Learn to live a night without eating. All right. And then maybe tomorrow you'll be grateful for what you're cooked.
I remember, because I hate fat on meat. And I remember sitting at the table for hours because my mom would cook me a steak or a pork chop with a bunch of fat. And I would refuse to eat it. And she would not let me leave the table until I finished every bit of it, including the fat. Okay,
but see, that's different. That's some John Candy Great Outdoors bullshit. No, you don't do that. Did you eat the steak or pork chop part of it?
I'm pretty sure I did. But
okay,
I mean,
so then you did the job.
The only thing I would say about the mother punishing him for 7 months is you kind of got to teach your kid proportionality. Like, if you raise your kid on extremes, then they're going to become an extreme person, a person of extremes. So the 7 months is not proportional to the crime. Like, so what he did was lousy. What he did was not cool. It's hilarious. Like, objectively, it's hilarious. Come on. Like,
but it's normal. I used to chase my sister around the house with a can of hairspray and a lighter. Okay.
You got like what? Well, we nearly just breezed right past that there.
It's kind of a tidbit too on the scale there. $2.
But so like I was just like, in my mind, I think she has to teach him in a parental style. It should be more proportionality, because like for something like that, it's hilarious. Like, it's something a brother does to another brother, and so I think like the most he should be grounded for like a month. So like, not take away his bed, just take away his phone, his electronic devices.
I thought I heard him say that they took the room away. I thought they took the room away.
Did he say room or chair?
Yeah,
or bed?
The room. He slept on the beanbag for 7 months.
Yeah. But here's the thing: the mom could have, and I completely agree with Vinnie. I mean, yeah, if you go nuts like that, then yeah, it's going to teach some bad things. But I think you need to look at the punishment, make it fit the crime. Do something if you tricked your brother into something like that, then one of the things that popped in my head is like, you made him pack all of his clothes and all this other stuff, and he has to unpack and everything else. You know what? For the next month, you're doing his laundry, and you have to fold it and everything else. You made him mess with his room and his laundry. Now you got to do that.
And he made him make the bed all time.
I'm just saying, man.
I definitely don't think that was as too terribly extreme, but it was, because I actually got kicked out of my room so my stepdad could grow pot plants, and I had to sleep in the hall. I had to sleep in the hallway.
Take one for the team, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you that there is comparisons in the discipline of my.
He just likes horticulture. Give the guy a break.
He's just trying to be a businessman.
Amateur botanist. He's doing it for the science, Dylan. Okay.
He would play Jesus on the cross at plays at church, and then come home and snort coke and beat us.
Nice.
Okay.
I wanted to highlight the son's attitude about that punishment. He seemed like everything was okay with that punishment that she gave when he was talking about it.
Because it
well,
probably
he
was
said
normal
when he
to him.
reflected back on it, it seemed a bit extreme. But he was definitely being more common. Like they were laughing about it.
Right.
But it's what Jukebox said earlier. That was the norm. If I can, real quick, I just worked with a comedian last weekend in Cuyahoga Falls named Katrina Brown. And she talks about the same thing on stage of what my normal was at home. I thought was normal everywhere. And what was normal at Katrina's home when she was a kid is she had a grandma who couldn't go up the stairs to use the bathroom. So they constructed a shitting box in the kitchen. Where grandma
In the kitchen.
in
all the
places. The kitchen. And the mom would stand in the doorway and be like, "You can't come in the kitchen right now. Grandma's using her box." And so Katrina said when she went to her friend's house, she's like looking around like, "Where's your grandma's shitting box?" True story.
Oh my god. She had a litter box. Amazing.
Grandma had a litter box in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Yeah.
Not outside the kitchen. In the kitchen.
Hey, Mom, while you're doing it, they're over there cooking dinner, and Mom's like, "Hey, I gotta go."
It's like the grandmother in the corner. She's like, "Oh, are you making stew? Is it stew? Stew. Oh, honey, I can smell the carrots. It's so good. I just hate the rosemary. I'm suffering.
Oh my god.
Oh, is that smell you or me? Is that smell you or me?
I did have a great grandma that lived with my grandma, and they had one of those little seats that attached to the side of the stairs, and she'd ride it up and down. You know what those are, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yes, that's whatever. Yeah.
I used to work with a place that I installed them before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to assemble wheelchairs and mobility scooters and stair lifts and stuff like that. It was my first job
Vinnie,
at school.
I must say that every single subject that we brought up, you knew something about it. That's impressive.
Man, I live in a small village. I've got nothing to do.
A fountain of useless and useful knowledge. In that order.
I've got literally no life, so I'm just constantly just absorbing information. Like somebody
like Sean, but his is
me.
mostly Sean reads all his stuff, but that same thing.
Yeah, I'm like watching, reading, listening. When you got like ADHD and insomnia, you've got 23 hours in the day. It's amazing.
All right, let's get back on topic. Okay. So it's in 2020, she ends up getting visited by CDS. They check her house out, and they apparently, according to her, asked her for parenting advice because they were so impressed.
Wow.
With how organized and clean and well behaved the kids are. But it's a front, it's like this. It's kind of like when the camera's off, like they know how to be when the camera's on and when the camera's off. So I'm sure it wasn't difficult for them to just pass off as a decent family. I'm sure the kids didn't want to get separated, but I just wanted to throw that in there, but we're going to jump back to 2019. This is where she meets Jodi Hildebrandt. Let me see if I can pull up her image. Share screen. Where you at here? There it is. Okay, this is. Come on, share. Don't freeze on me. Okay, hold on. It's being stupid. Did it work? Nope, it didn't.
Nope.
Describe it to us.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. She's a fair maiden. Her hair is like Goldilocks. Now Dylan is frozen.
Uh-oh.
I think the Iranian struck back. I think the Iranian. Yeah.
This is the first of the cyber attacks, gentlemen.
Here we go. As soon as he increases, the Iranians got him on the radar, took him out.
There we go.
Oh,
hey, we got two Dylans.
We got two Dylans. He's a clone. That's not Jim Carrey. That's not Jim Carrey.
I don't see
that was not Jim
Is the
Carrey.
other one frozen?
Jim Carrey.
Hold on. Is the other one frozen?
Yes, it is.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Oh, there it goes. All right, cool.
And he's back.
That's hilarious.
You cannot tell me that was Jim Carrey. different facial features. He hates awards and award shows, and he's up there going, "I'm just so happy, and I'm just so happy." Yes,
Oh my God, that
love
sounds
it.
exactly like that.
It was ridiculous.
It was like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons when he was like over. You know, when he's like,
Oh, I totally get that reference.
Yeah.
It was. I bring you
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he brings his peace. Kill him.
That's too funny. All right, so here we go. All right, okay. All right, so this. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. That's not the one I wanted to share. That kicking me off did not help. That just threw everything off. I had stuff pulled up and it's all gone now, so I have to pull everything up.
Oh,
that's all good. It's okay. We're good. There we go. Okay.
Oh,
yes. Okay. So this is
Hildebrandt.
okay. So Hildebrandt is the one on the left. Okay. And then Ruby is the one on the right. In 2019, they meet up, and Jodi is a psychologist / therapist, family doctor, whatever, who has this business called Connections with the X. And it's basically helping Mormon women feel more powerful within their churches. And she has like this whole community of women that follow her. And she does like these Zoom meetings with the husbands to kind of help them include their wives more in the home lives, and just real popular. And Ruby's like invested. As soon as she meets her, she shows up to one of her conventions, and like they end up basically becoming best friends and partnering up. And Kevin goes to one of the conventions, and he starts kind of getting almost like ridiculed. Like she starts using him as an example because her and Ruby are getting so close as like all the things not to do. And so Kevin starts kind of becoming this puppy, like believing that this is how he needs to change. Yeah. What do you guys got on that so far?
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously the power dynamic is, all right. So Ruth is the dominant one in the relationship.
Ruby, yes.
Or Ruby, sorry. It's completely forgettable for me. Come on. The guy usually has 12 wives. But so Ruby. So Ruby is obviously the dominant one in the relationship, because if you look at it, the parenting style is dictated by her. The trajectory of the family is dictated by her. The actual public identity of the family is dictated by her. And the amount of exposure to get as a family, and what way to get exposure, is all dictated by her. She is the alpha or whatever in that family, because she's the figurehead. Like, look, usually whoever's the figurehead is the person that goes outwards, brings in the networks, expands the reach. And she's at the forefront of all of it. She's the messaging, the identity, the networking, what way they deal with the media, what way they deal with their fans and their community online. So I just think he's probably like a weak man in terms of his personality, or maybe he wasn't always, but like she seems to be a very domineering person from the little clips that you've showed us, from her parental style, from the way she's grown her family brand. So I think that maybe he's just a weak man and she's controlling him, and he's just probably happy, like happy wife, happy life kind of guy, where as long as he's just happy to go along. It's like you said earlier, he wasn't really interested in at the start, but he saw the growth. And as soon as you see the money's a great seductor, like, you know. So I think at the start, he probably was a bit more opinionated in what direction the family was going in terms of their online presence. But as soon as they became monetized, as soon as the growth became real, he's kind of like he bowed to her direction, because what if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I think it's a case that, like, the more the family grew, the more the brand grew, probably the greater her influence grew. And then you probably saw the relationship skew, because there was probably more parity there originally, because he looks like a successful dude, you know. He's able to afford 7 kids, he's got a big house, he's got a beautiful wife. So I'm sure he has some sort of success about him originally. But I'd say the relationship skewed and she became more and more domineering as the brand grew, and her influence over the family pretty grew with that, symbiosis.
Right.
I got a different look on this, Vinny. I know you made some valid points, but I'm gonna go a different direction. Usually in a relationship, there's a person that is the influence or the moneymaker. I think you did mention that. And when that's the case, and they are basically not a teeter-totter, but the weight balance is totally on the money, then the other person has to either support that, whether it's the male or the female, or they have to try to balance it to where they make the same or go beyond the other person. In most cases, when it's a huge gap or whatever, then the opposite person usually goes in favor of supporting the person that's pulling the biggest weight of money. And I don't call that weak. I just call that, staying in your lane or playing your role in that particular situation. I won't say that he was weak. I will say that she was the more dominant moneymaker, which kind of made him shift in how his approach was. Yeah, I guess that can be looked at as weak or not, but I just think he was being supportive because she was the moneymaker, and just did what he had to do to keep the family together and keep it moving forward, because he realized, dude, this is a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be able to go ahead.
But any man that is willing to any man that's willing to dilute his own influence over his family for monetary gain is weak, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, that's a better way to say it now, and I get what you're saying now. I do, but I hope you understand my angle of what I'm saying as well.
Oh, of course, yeah. I just think, like, as a father, I think he gave away too much of his influence over his children because of the money that his wife was providing to the family. And I understand, like, money's massive, especially when you have 7 kids. Like, that's 7 kids that have to go to college. America's not a cheap place to live. Like, I totally understand his reasonings, but, like, I think he showed weak character. Like, he could have like maintained more of an influence over the decision-making process, and maybe they would have made less money, but they're still making more money than no money. So, like, it's a case of, like, what his principles were. And I think if you're willing to dilute your influence over your own children and give them over to your spouse for monetary gain, I think that does show a bit of weakness in his character. But I totally understand his reasoning.
I want to hear Sean before I say this, but there is, from all the research and the documentaries that I have watched on this case, I saw some of the interviews from him throughout this whole story, and I'm going to throw some stuff in that does relate to this. But Sean, I want to hear your opinion.
Okay. Well, I think there are some things going on. I mean, first of all, Vinnie and Evo delivered cogent explanations for his mannerisms and beliefs and the way he operated within the ecosystem of the house. I think perhaps maybe he was just tired. I mean, you've got a guy that's supporting a household. I don't know what the guy's job was, but I can't imagine, he was working at Burger King making $7.25 an hour. I'm sure
it was a student. I know it was a suit and tie job.
Okay, so he's doing some sort of suit and tie job. So he's probably exhausted. And the fact that there was money coming in, he probably stepped back and said, awesome, whatever needs to happen, so I don't have as much pressure on me. And the other side of it, I think probably he was getting pegged.
By the crossing on the wall.
I was like nodding along because he's making all these really good points, and then he just snuck that in, which to say
it's almost like he's a comedian or something.
I was like, yes, pegging, yes, continue, yes, elaborate.
Could you elaborate, sir?
Are we talking a 3/5 pegging or a complete pegging?
I do want to say thank you for everybody that's tuning in right now. There's a couple of you in here, so if you guys want to throw in comments and be a part of the show, feel free to throw them in there. So he is interviewed throughout the case, and you guys gotta understand, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him, But he also he not only talks about, wow, there's money in it. He also says, we all, even the kids, were like, this is God's path for us. Like, look what we're being blessed with because of what we're doing. So he was also following on board because in his mind, he's like, God wants this. Like, clearly he wants it because look what's happening. Look what we're getting. Look what we're getting from doing this.
It's like prosperity gospel almost. Right. Like if you do this, then God's going to bless your paths and open doors and things. And obviously it seems like doors are opening left and right for them. So theologically, it probably matches up very well with, what they've been poured into as far as spirituality over the years.
Right.
And he was getting pegged.
Yeah. And like a body of Christ. It's like, sorry, force a habit. Sorry.
Did you buy some lubricant? No, but I got the holy water. The holy water is right next to the bed. I got it. Hold on a second.
All right. I won't say that anymore.
But yeah, that's a good point though, because if it is a thing with faith, because like it's like what it was Chris Rock said in Dogma, the Kevin Smith movie from the 90s, I think, that an idea is a good thing, but beliefs are a terrible thing because beliefs are so hard to change. It's really easy to change someone's mind about an idea, but belief system or belief structure. So like I totally understand. So like maybe he wasn't a weak dude. Maybe he just thought like, this is belief system. God has preordained this. This is our path. Let's follow it. So maybe he wasn't so weak. Maybe he wasn't chasing the almighty dollar. Maybe he was just, giving himself over to his faith. I can't really say, I'm not a religious person. So that does influence people a lot. So maybe he wasn't so weak. Maybe he's just religious.
It is going to change though. Your opinion on this guy is going to change because Jodi.
I retract my retraction.
Jodi is now influencing Ruby, right? So she's influencing what she's doing in the home. How to discipline the children. She's even having like meetings and hour-long sessions with the oldest kids because Chad's kind of a problem child, and he even talks about it in the documentaries about how
should have called him Chad.
He's like, after a certain point, like they're tired of being filmed too. Like they're getting burnt out. These kids. Yeah. And he even's like, I was intentionally trying to piss her off at some points. Like I wanted to get that rise out of her. So, the mom's like, okay, you're going to start having sessions with Jodi. And Chad's like, this was a turning point for me. Like I started becoming a better child because of these sessions with Jodi. And I thought it was actually improving who I was. So Jodi's now got this heavier influence. By 2021, she moves in with the Franke family. She moves in with them.
Whoa.
She moved in their house. And and they all talk about how it wasn't their choice. Like she just kind of did it and Ruby allowed it.
Wow.
Yeah. And Kevin talks, and even the kids talk about how she had. Go ahead.
So Kevin's
here's that weak aspect of Kevin right here.
Yeah, the backbone went out the back door.
Did Kevin and Jodi start doing it?
Actually, there's assumptions that it's more of Jodi and Ruby.
They scissored.
They said there was something.
It was definitely pegging at this point.
Oh my god!
I'm just kidding. Anyways, so hold on. Okay, so this is just the start to where it really just starts to nosedive. Okay.
Okay.
So Kevin and the kids talk about. So the middle-aged kids don't really get brought up in the documentaries. They were taken into custody after everything does happen, but the little kids are the primary source of why this all went down, which is going to wrap up the show here at the end. The older kids have a lot of input because they were teenagers going into this. So they're talking about, Kevin and the kids are talking about how she went into like these trances, like almost like these dizzy spells where she would just zone out for like hours on end. And like they videoed like trying to lift her head up. And she was just like, I don't know, like
if Jodi.
Have you ever seen anybody speaking in tongues? It wasn't necessarily that, but it was more like they were just tuned out in another, like it's creepy. It is. Even as a kid, seeing somebody speaking in tongues is creepy, but she would like go into these trances where she was just knocked out. They'd find her like on the floor in the laundry room. and the kitchen passed out on the floor, like just weird. So Ruby now is like, okay, she's gonna start sleeping in our room with me, and I'm gonna stay in the room with her because somebody needs to keep an eye on her.
Wow.
So now Kevin's kicked out of the room.
Wow.
Oh my God, they're so banging.
Wait. Yep. Okay.
So he's a weak motherfucker. Sorry, I retract the retraction.
That's why I said. That's why I said.
She has moved in the house, and then
my
she
God.
kicks him out the room. Wow.
And they're still doing their weekly sessions where she's having these Zoom meetings with all
they're
the men
doing
in the
weekly
community.
sessions. All right. Oh my
We
God.
are so good at taking something so depraved.
He didn't, the thing is, it's like he should have been strong enough as a man to say at least, hey, if I can just stay and watch, I'll make you sandwiches afterwards.
I'd be like, king size bed.
Bring it on.
King size bed. Like, come on. I take up very little space. Fetal position. I can just lay on my side. I can
just sit in the corner and watch.
Yeah.
So Jodi
Give me the
is
beanbag.
again. So Jodi is continuing to do these sessions. She's still doing her connections, and she's having these meetings with the men. And even the men get interviewed in the documentary. It's like they were sitting and listening while Kevin was being attacked. It was like she was calling him out on all the things he did wrong. And it gets to a point where by the beginning of 22 or the end of 21, Ruby tells him to move out. No contact with the family. We need space. You need to, get right with God before we can correct things. Just move out. And he does it. He just packs up and moves out.
So while she was in her little trances and whatnot, she was communicating with Satan.
Who knows? I would like to think so, especially where this ends up going.
Wow.
But yeah, what do you guys? I mean, that is a sign of a weak man right there for sure.
Yeah, either he's weak like the way we think, or he's weak in the other direction either, because maybe he just abandoned his family because he couldn't handle his wife.
You
know what I mean? Like,
the thing is, every documentary, he acts oblivious. He acts oblivious, like this is what God wanted. So I was just following along.
Yeah, he's a weak
every interview.
Honestly, I just think he now. Originally, I gave him way too much credit because I thought his faith was actually guiding him, but no, he's just using his faith as a shield because he is just a weak man. He is so originally he was weak in the way we described, and now I think it's because his wife is clearly having an affair, more than likely. Okay, he probably knows this. He's completely emasculated. He's lost his parental control in the family. So I think at this stage he's just cutting and running. I think he's just like, okay, look, the kids are better off with her, blah, blah, blah. This is the reason, and he's probably doing with himself. It's like, she's happy, the kids are happy, I get to go start fresh, I get to be in contact with the kids, blah, blah, blah. This is God's plan. It's God's plan. That's what he's telling everybody. It's God's plan. But I said the reasoning going on in his head is, they're happy, I can be happy, I'm going to just cut and run. Because I think he's lost complete control over that family.
I'll go this direction as well and kind of piggyback off of Vinnie. He is also being disrespected, by what's being said to him, and the other men are looking at him as if he's weak or can't control his household. So that's another reason for him to cut and run as well. Outside of everything else that's going on, he's being minimized as a man, and he was probably already feeling small in the first place. So yeah, it was definitely a way to take off and get the heck out and try to start fresh somewhere else.
What do you got, Sean?
Well, here's the thing. Religion is incredibly dangerous and insidious. I lived in Tulsa for a few years, and I was immersed in the culture of the Southern Baptists, and they were just a level below the Westboro Baptist type folks, the folks that I was around. And if you are part of those communities, one of the things that can happen very easily is this whole sanctimonious hierarchy power structure bullshit thing that goes on, where it's like, oh, well, you must have done this and God is upset with you for this reason, and you need to do this, and you need to go to these meetings, and you need to do these things. when very well could be that you're not doing anything wrong, you know, but because people get so brainwashed by this bullshit. You know, I saw a great saying one time that said, you know, Jesus came down to take your sins, not your mind. But too often we see folks in these religions, plural, that they get so attached to the belief that everything I do can affect my salvation in a plus or minus type of situation, that, you know, whatever is said to them, you know, like, oh, you're being unholy, and am I? What do I do? You know, so he very well could be at a point where he is so just inured with that system that whatever is presented to him, he's just going to go with it. But psychologically, I think Vinnie and Evo are a bit correct. Like, there's a part of him that is also going, I can cut and run, but base everything on this whole bullshit tapestry that has been presented to me.
Yeah. Like it makes sense from this aspect. Like, I understand this. Like, I understand why it's happening. Like, his head's so warped on this Jodi's perception of how he should be, and he thinks that this is the direction he's supposed to go. So he's like, well, all right, let's do it. So over that next year, neighbors start talking about how nobody's leaving the house. They don't even see the kids. The kids will be staring out the window. So they are reporting to the police, like, hey, you need to check up. They even call the oldest one, Shari, because she's off in college, checking in on the family. And Shari's like, well, I haven't talked to him. My mom doesn't even respond to my messages.
Wow.
So, like, she calls out to the police department, and so they go out. This is in 23 to check on him, and nobody answers. So they can't, but they don't have any way to, like, say, oh, well, we have credible reason to go into the house. So after several attempts, you know, with no avail, Shari's just like, well, I don't know what I can do. I can't do anything about it. You know, if they're not going to do anything, what can I do? So in they got arrested in August. So around July, they are moving. So Jodi ended up buying this land in her properties in Ivins, Utah, which is like desert, like rich community. She's got like $5 million house on the desert. And Ruby is now moving the kids out there, and they're kind of in the transition of it. And it's like June 15th, or it might be July 15th. I'll have to follow up on this, guys. That the oldest kid is the oldest one that's still there. The middle-aged one, I guess, would be it. But hold on. I'm getting this all wrong, guys. Hold on. I'm going to look this up.
Yeah.
It's the youngest boy. Okay, the youngest boy at this point is 14 years old, and he goes and knocks on one of Jodi's neighbors' doors, and they answer it, and he said, hey, I just need some help. I need a ride to the police station.
Whoa.
And they come outside. They have him sit down. He's completely emaciated, like skin and bone. He has duct tape and saran wrap around his wrists and his ankles. He tells them it's because he's been tied up. And God, sorry, my dog. So they call the cops, and there's actually a recording, which I should have got it. And this old man is like crying on the phone about how bad shape this kid's in. And they show up. They take him into custody. The deputy sheriff talks about how she didn't believe it until she got there, how bad it was, that this kid was in shape, like his shaved head, like sunburnt, like rope burns on his arms and his wrists, clearly being abused, clearly being like neglected. So they go to Jodi's house. They get a warrant to go to her house, and they go in and find his young sister locked in a closet, her head shaved. They thought she was a boy at first, also emaciated. And hold on just a second. My puppy is teething, everybody. So this opens a huge investigation, right? Jodi gets arrested. Ruby isn't there when they come in. She's packing up stuff to bring there. And the kids get taken into custody and get taken into Ivan's police station, where the dad ends up showing up. They didn't call him. They're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm here to get my kids." Ruby Ruby calls him. He said, "I hadn't heard from her in a year." She calls me out of nowhere, says, "Hey, I'll explain later. The kids have been possessed." Yes, the kids have been possessed. I'll explain more later. But she basically feeds him this thing of like, the kids are against us right now. I just need you to go to the police station and get the kids. So they bring him into this interrogation room. Go ahead.
Okay, so Jodi and Ruby both yield to Kevin's manhood when they get in trouble, and ask him to ask him to bail them out basically, and go get the kids because the kids turned against them.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's just her exerting more control and manipulation over Kevin, because
she even tells him on the call, "Hey, you want to redeem yourself? Here's your opportunity. Go get our kids."
Because like their only way legally for those kids to be taken out of that police station is by a legal guardian, and because they were in her custody when the alleged crimes were committed, the only use she had for Kevin was to get those kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So she's such a manipulator. She's a sociopath, complete sociopath.
Yeah.
Sean, or not Sean. You were nodding your head, so I just said your name.
Why were you there, Sean?
Why were you there? So Kevin is basically, they are drilling him questions. We didn't reach out to you. How'd you know? Someone called me. Who was it? I don't feel comfortable telling you right now. I was just told to come get the kids. I'm here for the kids. And he's like
spineless.
He's defending her, but he doesn't know. He has no idea what's been happening because they haven't told him yet.
Jeez.
At this point, they start to tell him, "Hey, we found your kids emaciated. This is how they were." And he's like, "They're trying to come after my wife." So he's like shutting down, not wanting to believe what's going on. He ends up
possessed, like demonically possessed.
Yes, like the kids are demonically possessed, which I have the journal pulled up. They end up going back to Jodi's house, and Ruby had daily journal entries about what she was doing to these kids.
Wow. What?
Yes. And I'll pull them up. We'll get to that. But basically, Kevin ends up going back to the house and he meets Chad, the oldest one. He's also out in college at this time, right? So he's like, "I'm coming back to the house." They meet up. The house is destroyed. They're going through stuff. Neighbors show up and they're starting to explain, "Hey, everything okay? Like, we haven't seen." And they spend 6 hours with their next door neighbors, and the neighbors are filling their heads with all these things that were going on. And this is where Kevin and Chad are like, wait. They're starting to realize that it was just an illusion. Like they're younger, his younger siblings, his youngest kids were being abused and neglected, and everybody just like checked out, and people were worried about him. And this is where Kevin and Chad in the documentary start talking about how this is when we started waking up to the realization that Jodi really just messed us up. And let's, before we get into the journal entries, what do you guys got?
It just, God, dude, I hate to bag on religion so badly because I'm a believer, right? But not in the brainwashed sense, like, and I have seen the brainwashed, and this, especially from the time I was living in Tulsa, dude, and in my head, I'm going, yeah, this totally makes sense. I can totally see this shit happening. The possession, all the stuff, them, and not even knowing what this lady was filling their heads with. But I've seen the heads of families, in these Baptist households, would say crazy things like, yes, you need to speak in tongues to get, this certain thing. And then they'd be like, habada shubada, shabada shubada, right? And be totally into it. And I'm just, I would, yeah. I would watch this insanity like, you people are nuts. Like you're just, this is all performative. And you're so, and I don't know if it's just like a low IQ thing or if it's just that they are so into it that, you know, with the belief, like you said, belief ideas, good, beliefs, bad. And their beliefs are just so wrapped into their DNA that just whatever is presented to them, just like, sure, whatever it is. And they will just go with it. And that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like, you know, and but that's how you get things like the Jonestown thing and, you know, Marshall Applewhite and the Heaven's Gate cult, that kind of shit. You know, it's just insanity. And that's what this sounds like.
It's just a matter of capturing the right people in the right state of mind to warp them to be under your
I think
control.
it's almost anyone though. Like, I think as human beings, we're inherently have this fragility about us because we're terrified of the future because it's completely unknown to us. And one thing we're only certain of is death. So like we have this fragility about us in the terms of like how we should live our life, what way. A lot of times we give away our sense of self in trying to find some sort of sense of like understanding of life and the universe. And like you look at people in cults, you go like Sean, you're talking about like low IQ, but if you look at like of that documentary, is it called Wild Wild Country on Netflix? And that is a cult pretty much. And lots of them are lawyers, they're doctors, they're like intelligent, highly educated people. But it's not to do with intelligence. It's your sense of self-determination. People fear the future so much, we really do. Like because we've no idea what's going to happen. So if we can give our sense of direction over to somebody else that we think that can actually show us, enlighten us, and guide us into a future where we can give away that sense of authority and actually give away that sense of like control. Because we actually like, so we give it over to a higher power, we give it over to these charismatic leaders, we give it over to politicians in every little way in our life, whether it be religion, whether it be our jobs, whether it be our political beliefs, we give over that control to other people because people have this fragility about them. We don't like a sense of the decision is on me. I need someone else I can look at when I don't know what to do. I need someone else to blame. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just, if you don't, like, I just think we need this built-in thing where we're like, if I don't know what to do, somebody else has the answer. If something goes wrong, I need someone else to look to. I need someone else to blame. It's just like we have a real problem with like taking the onus on ourselves in decision making for every little aspect of our lives. And that's why we end up in jobs we hate. We end up following political parties that our parents and their parents followed. We end up being like going to the religions that our parents and their parents followed because it was all preordained. It's all given to us. And because that's our identity, and because we don't want to lose our sense of identity, we give over a sense of our authority and our sense of self-determination. And I don't think it's a case of intelligence. I just think we have this innate fragility as humans that we just don't want all that responsibility put on ourselves. We don't want to be making decisions all the time. We don't want to have to decide every aspect of our life and our identity. So it's better to give it over to people that are more educated than us or have more knowledge than us, because it takes that burden off us. And that's why we have tribes and clans and nationalities and blah, blah, blah.
You're always so good at things. You know that, Vinnie?
Well,
yeah,
I will.
It's caffeine.
I will happily quote the basketball coach from the movie Vision Quest when he was asked, "Can 1 billion Chinese people be wrong?" And his response was, "Frequently."
I don't think there's 1 billion Chinese people, but that's a different episode of another show. I don't think there's 8 billion people in the world. That's
But yeah, you see what I mean? It's like, I get what you're saying, and but there is look. You quoted that, you know, there are doctors of juris doctorates and doctors and things out there. It's like, dude, I'm highly educated. I'm a fucking idiot. I had a 4.0, one of the most prestigious universities in the world, and I'm an idiot lots of times. There are dumb lawyers, dumb doctors, and everything else. Just because they've got a certificate doesn't mean shit. I'm talking about like an overall intelligence. It's just like everybody sitting on the board here. You know, you have some sort of intelligence that goes beyond, and this, I feel like blowing smoke up your ass, that is beyond the norm, that would make you question things. It's just like, have you ever seen that old photo of Nazi Germany, where like all those people are given the Heil Hitler, and there was that one dude that was not in the middle of the crowd, and you see the picture, and the caption says, "Be like this guy." And I see everybody.
He was wrong though.
Ev.O.Lution, what do you got, man?
Wow. I mean, it's a lot of great comments being made now. I really agree with Vinnie and Sean on their views and how they explain themselves. It's very, very good, actually. People today are definitely not how people were a few years back. And the further back you go, the bigger difference you'll see in how people would do things and react. People were more independent. As with all of us were children, people were more independent. Now today, they're so reliant on everything else. I mean, I hear people talking today, well, I use AI for this, I use AI for that. We're just giving away our abilities and our purpose and our presence to other things, to where we can't even function normally anymore because of how we are, like Vinnie said, given our responsibilities and our decision-making skills to other people and other things. I think that's a huge problem, that people don't see how big of a huge problem it is until AI starts firing off missiles everywhere. Anyway.
It's all right here, man. Everything you think, everything that you talk about, it's all controlled. It's all controlled right here.
Dude, I was texting, sorry to cut across your Stanford, but like just the phone's listening. I was on Messenger one time texting my neighbor. We were just like back and forth texting, what you watching, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm going to watch Dark on Netflix. I'm thinking of watching Dark, and I sent her a trailer. I go on Netflix. It's the first search option on my algorithm, on my timeline. The very first.
Wow.
As soon as I load up Netflix. And all I did on my cell phone was send a message of a trailer from YouTube to my neighbor about that show. And Netflix on my smart TV put it up as the first search result on my algorithm.
Dude, you want to really freak yourself out, Vinny? Start thinking about one thing, just like dog food as an example. Don't say it. Think about it over and over and over again. Just watch what pops up on your algorithm.
Go ahead, Ev.O.Lution. Let Ev.O.Lution finish. Hold on.
Sorry.
I think I'm good. I'm good.
What do you got, Vinny? I do want to get into some of the journal entries before we wrap up.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that thing where Sean, like, because I'm fascinated by the idea of simulation theory. I know this is completely off topic, so I'm going to make it quick. Do you think when you think it's actually the guy, do you know that your inner monologue speaks to you, and some people don't have that, and they say they see in images, NPCs or whatever. So do you think it's a case of like the voice in your head is not actually you, it's whoever's controlling you in the simulation, and as soon as you think that, it's actually the voice in your head uploading that thought into the simulation, and that's why it becomes active in the real world, because your thought stream is actually linked.
Sean loves this stuff.
You know what I mean?
Here's the thing: you're talking about quantum physics at this point, because the assumption is nothing around us reacts until we observe it, and we have to get in. Now you're talking like the double slit experiment, where by observation we affect matter. Okay, and so it kind of. But here's the thing, man. What do I think? I think we are luminous beings driving around these bone and meat mech suits, and when we have a thought that pops into our head, it is our connection to the higher consciousness. People have different names for it. I call it Jesus.
This will be another show, by the way, maybe one of yours.
Oh hell yeah, dude. I can talk about this for hours. But that's a tough one, man, because I don't know where I stand on the, does it exist until we observe it or think it? But at the same time, I do think words and thoughts have power. So who?
Yeah,
Dude, that's
and to circle it back to the theological theme, like it's like we are giving ourselves over. So if you believe in simulation theory, you think it's like the way I described it, it's uploaded into the collective consciousness. If you believe in theology, you believe that like the reason it has shown up because I thought of it is because God is listening to me and he's ordained it to be a part of my life, or the reason I thought it is because God put that thought in my head. And the reason it's showing up in reality is because God has prepared me for the reality that was about to occur. So it is, once again, it's all about giving yourself over to a higher power. And I think that's what Kevin did. He gave himself over to a higher power, whether it be his God, whether it be Ruby, whether it be Jodi. He took away that sense of self-determination and he gave it to someone else to the detriment of his children. You know, weak ass motherfuckers.
Dude, agreed. Here's something that'll really trip you out. Do things exist until we think of them? Now, this goes back to what I was saying. There's this book.
Hold on, we're getting way too off topic. I feel like
I tried to circle back. I like a pro. I was circling back.
Sean, I would absolutely love to dive into this topic, but I don't want to do it right now because
like a pro. I was circling back.
Good. We're good. Sean, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm fine with touching on this later on. Let's get into some of these journals. Let's get into some of these journal entries. So they go back to Jodi's house. They find this journal. A lot of these, this is an actual government document. It's through Utah government website. A lot of it's redacted, but she literally has dates on her like timeline journals. And like, so 521, Jodi receives business from temple president. 522, the kids come down to Jodi's to help spring clean. Let's see here. Okay, so 6/30/23, R is one of the kids. So they redacted a lot of these and just put the letters in it. It's one of the younger kids. I believe it's Russell. Refuses to do wall sits. He says he's done. On 7/1, she says Russell is to stay outside, sleep outside, only come in to use the bathroom and shower.
Wow.
What's a wall sit? What's that?
It's like
shit, dude.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like we did it like when we were in basketball conditioning. Those
it's like you sit and you put your back against the wall and you slide down until your legs are in a 90-degree, like you're sitting on a chair, but you are holding your entire weight up in a seated position with your back against the wall. It is torturous on your calves, thighs, hammies, joints. It's rough.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Want to do them.
Yeah, we should call it air chair.
These are her signs of their possession. They're refusing to do these things, right?
Wow.
7:15, Russell runs away around 1:15, and then Ruby finds him at 3:14. They go out to Jodi's place in Arizona, where she finds property in Arizona. Redacted. There's a few more notes I want to read.
Who has redacted these? The officials, the authorities?
Yes, the officials. This is it is the washco.utah.gov. This is a document from their like a Utah state governmental, probably their court system.
Yeah, but redacted because it had to deal with minors. Yes.
Yep. Like look at this. July 9th, 23. Russell turns 12. I never envisioned him being 12. He's still pooping and peeing. He's still pooping and peeing himself. Satanic choices lead one to becoming destitute, even in the most affluential homes.
Jeez.
That is nuts. Yeah.
She's really spiraling.
July 10th.
Yeah.
July 10th, it's Russell's birthday. He doesn't even know what month it is. Even Russell have been in so much defiant behavior. They want control. Deviant, sorry. Behavior. They won't control their bodily functions. They are both furers. Their selfish, sinful lifestyle is being intervened upon. I told Russell he enviated a snake.
Imitate?
He slithers and sneaks around looking for opportunities when no one is watching. Like, so this is the kind of stuff that this is how deep she's gone, that her youngest kids being children is demonic possession. That's why I pulled this up.
She spelled opportunities incorrectly. I'm sorry. I was staring at that. I was like, she's a terrible speller.
But so they found that when they went back to Jodi's house, they found like a safe in the basement. Which was like a locked room that had rope and tape and all these other weird objects where they would lock the kids. So yeah, I mean, they were torturing these children for being kids.
So did Ruby discipline them in this way before Jodi came into her life, or did it become more extreme after Jodi?
It became more extreme after Jodi. Like there's a lot more in the documentaries, which I really encourage any of you that have watched this whole thing. If you're invested into this topic, please go look up Ruby Franke. You can find her on pretty much all the platforms. There's some documentary out there. It is a lot deeper than what we're talking about.
It's terrible.
And, like, did she take away the kid's bedroom for 7 months before or after she met Jodi?
That was before.
So she was strict before she met Jodi. That's obviously what ingratiated Jodi to reach out to her. Did Jodi reach out to Ruby, or did Ruby reach out to Jodi? Who made the initial contact?
I think it was more like Ruby found her on YouTube, and they were both like, it was a local connection, and she showed up to one of her conventions, and they just kind of hit it off.
And Jodi is a single affluent woman, or is she divorced, or does she have a family?
She was divorced. She was divorced. I don't believe there was any kids, but she was divorced.
And what was her relationship like with her husband?
I don't know. I didn't dive into that.
Because I'm just wondering, like, she obviously
she probably pegged him.
Is that what you're going?
There you go. Always comes back to that, ladies and gentlemen.
It's your fault. It's your fault, Sean.
I see where Vinny's going with this, though. Like, it's the different psychologies that are going on in this household. You know, if you remove just the kids away from it, and you have Ruby, Jodi, and Kevin, and the way those dynamics worked out, like this lady came in. I'm thinking with a plan. I would almost bet that when she think that when it was a financial gain opportunity for both of them.
I think she's jealous. She's jealous. No, this is born out of envy. It's hatred born out of envy. She looked at this beautiful young woman, successful, has a gorgeous family, successful husband, a happy marriage.
We were looking at the same pictures. I'm just kidding.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, she's like, so I think Jodi looked at Ruby's life with complete envy. And she's a sociopath. So what she did was she ingratiated herself into her life, and then she decimated her family because she took everything from Ruby. Well, she was envious of Ruby, if that makes any sense. So everything she envied Ruby for, she stripped away from Ruby. She's a family decimator without the killing, is what she is. She went in, so she had a happy marriage, which Jodi's divorced, okay? Jodi was envious of her happy marriage. She had 7 kids. Jodi had no kids, so she was probably jealous of all her kids. She was successful. Jodi probably wasn't successful. So I think what she did was she went in, she saw this woman who was living the life she wanted, who had everything she wanted, and she was probably looking, I was like, I'm rich. I'm affluent. Why don't I have these things? Why does she have it? Why does God give her everything? Why can't God give it to me? So she went into this family and she just decimated it. She took everything from Ruby that she envied Ruby for. I think Ruby, in a strange way, the more and more I look at it, is actually a victim unto herself. Because
I did look it up. She got divorced in 2012. So like it's a timeline kind of leads up. Like she gets into this. And then they meet up.
Yeah. So I think it's like a case of like Ruby victimizes her family in a sense at the start, but it only gets worse and worse and worse and more malicious when Jodi gets involved. Because what happened was Ruby manipulated her husband Kevin into bowing to her. And then what everybody says, like you always meet somebody that's worse than you, somebody that's a better fighter, somebody that's more intelligent. And she met somebody on a similar spectrum, but way, way, way worse. And she thought we were similar people. She's strict. I'm strict. She's religious. I'm religious. She's a successful woman. I'm a successful woman. She looked at all the similarities. But what she
fixed her kid. The oldest one even talks about how,
now
he's behaving.
At the start, because what are sociopaths and psychopaths really good at doing? They're really good at imitating actual human emotions. And not only that, they're really good at finding out what people want and need and giving it to them. And what
Love
she did was
mine.
she went in and she was like, oh, I know everything that Ruby wants. I'm sure they spoke about this. My kid does this. My kid does that. She went in. She gave Ruby everything she wanted. I bet you she and Kevin were amazing at the start. And then as soon as she gained a foothold in our family, what did she do? What's her first thing she does? She gets influence over Ruby. Second thing she does, she gets influence over the most problematic child, Chad. So what she's doing now is she's ingratiating herself further with the family. Even Kevin was probably like, oh my God, Jodi, I had my doubts about her, but look at Chad. Chad was such a problem child. Now he's amazing. So that's what sociopaths do. So what she did was she I think in my mind, looking at all the evidence you provided, that Ruby victimized Kevin and then Jodi victimized Ruby. And I think Ruby, even though she is guilty because she gave over the determination of her family to another person the same way Kevin did, I think Jodi is actually the person here who's actually the perpetrator, the real perpetrator, if you look at it, because it escalates. That's why I was asking you all those questions a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
It escalates when Jodi gets involved. And I think Jodi was envious of Ruby, so she took everything from her. And that's what I think.
What might really flip this too is if we have some.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
I love it.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
If we look back at Jodi's marriage, and if he left her, he abandoned her, she probably went into this thing with the intention of taking that power back and removing him, Kevin, from the situation.
And she's still in her man-hating phase as well. It's what, 4 or 5 or 6 years after she got divorced. You know, like no hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. You know, So I think it's Jodi. Yeah, like,
I think we four men all agree. Absolutely.
What do you got, Ev.O.Lution? There's so much testosterone in here. We're all like, "Yep, it was Jodi."
I would say great job, Vinnie, in both of your great explanations. I'm glad we invited you on.
Should have been a lawyer. Should have been
right. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you said, 100%. I do have to make a quick exit, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that, but
you're good.
I have to get on to my next event. And,
Jodi got to him. Whatever, Stanford. It's okay. I saw him looking at the phone. I saw Jodi's face in his glasses. I saw it. She's like, Stanford, get away from it. She's like, Ev.O.Lution, get off. You never wear mirrored glasses. But
good seeing everybody. Good seeing everybody, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, glad we had Vinnie on. He definitely killed it today.
Thank you, bro.
Y'all take care.
You're good, Ev.O.Lution. We'll see you later. We're gonna be wrapping up here in a minute.
See you later, Ev.O.Lution. Good seeing you, bro.
See you, buddy.
Take care.
I definitely agree with what both of you said, and I think that the biggest thing for me with Jodi being the most prominent is that when Ruby only knew like the camera side of things, right? So she probably went to this convention and was like, there's this whole other world, and she's killing it over here, and what she's saying speaks to me. I'm gonna keep going. And then as she's doing that, you've got Jodi over here like, wait, you've got your own YouTube channel? You know, I bet you I can feed off of you. I think I can feed off it. I'm gonna take you under my wing. And she does. Like she's completely stops posting on 8 passengers, and she's totally invested into Jodi's business. Like they become business partners. Like, so they thought they were gonna benefit off of each other. Now, I think that from Ruby's aspect, it might have been more like faith related. Jodi's was more sinister, like you said, Vinnie. So I don't, and I'm not trying to take anything off of Ruby. I think that she should be held accountable. I know she got 4 counts of child abuse and neglect, which in the state of Utah, you can't, even consecutively, you can't serve more than 30 years in the state of Utah. So she got 4 counts of it. Yes, she got 4 counts of it.
Even for murder. Sorry, even for murder.
I'm not sure. I know for this particular thing, they talk about it in the documentaries about how she got 4 counts of 1 to 15 years for child abuse. But they even talk about how something with the laws, she couldn't serve more than 30 years.
Yeah.
So that might be something we have to dive into. But that's another thing. Like some of the laws out there. Well, even think about the cops couldn't even do anything. Like they kept showing up and they're like, well, can't do anything. They didn't answer, but we're getting these reports. You know, and
This is in
judges were saying.
You say it's in Utah.
Yeah, it's in Utah.
Yeah, it's completely controlled by the Mormon religion. That state, pretty much.
Yeah, that whole state. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I got. I mean, I picked this case mostly because I think the fame and the religion aspect of it, like, you know, with JG's Lounge kind of growing right now, I thought it fit perfect for the timing. But the religion, I think, played a huge part in the manipulation in this particular scenario, and that's why I love how we talked about that tonight a lot.
I think as well, because it's like, as well, it could have been a case of like Ruby has always probably controlled everything in her life, because she, as you said earlier on, it's preordained by God's will. So as soon as Jodi came into her life, she's like, this is preordained by God's will. And I bet you every step of the way, even when she has locked her kids up and all this, I bet you Ruby thought she was complete control of that situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, Jodi's like, no, they're possessed. There's a clear explanation. Here's what you need to do. Go tie him up on that bush out there and tell him he can't come inside.
Yeah, it's all confirmation bias. That's the thing. It's like she wants to believe that this is a religious thing and the kids are possessed and everything, and then she's got, you know, Jodi behind her going, oh yeah, it's 100% that. And then then, you know, in her twisted brain, it's like, okay, this has been verified by this source. And then, you know, and then it just continues to tumble down as it did.
And probably as well, Sean, the worse it got, the more detached she came from her responsibility over the situation. This wouldn't happen if it's not God's will. They're possessed. I have to do the fight, fight the good fight on behalf of God, because this is God's will. I'm one of God's soldiers. They're like, whatever's happened to them, whatever Jodi's doing to them, whatever Ruby's being manipulated into doing to them, she probably, the more, even when it got worse and worse and worse and worse, and obviously because it continued to escalate, that she just kept giving herself over to her belief, I believe, in terms of like, Jodi probably like what lots of like imams do, what lots of rabbis do in terms of Zionistic cultures, in terms of religious fundamentalists, they cherry pick from the scripture and they change the interpretation of what originally occurred. So what I'd say is Jodi was probably, they were probably reading scripture a lot. It happens a lot in these circumstances. So I'd say Jodi was probably cherry picking certain passages, certain things from the Bible, and she was probably manipulating it so it would fit every situation and every certain scenario that she was actually playing out. Because as the jukebox said, Jodi went in here with a plan. Sociopaths always have a plan. Psychopaths always have a plan. It's why they're so good at getting in and out of trouble. So I think it became like a David Koresh type thing. It became like the fundamentalist or religious leader type thing, where I bet you Jodi, after a while, was reading scripture to Ruby, and she was constantly cherry picking certain passages that was able to fulfill the narrative that she was creating in terms of their day-to-day life. And that's why, even though when the situation escalated in a negative sense, that Ruby didn't fight against it, because she was indoctrinated completely and totally by Jodi. By the time they moved, that's when I'd say Jodi was complete indoctrinated her, because she wouldn't have tried to get her to take her family out of the family home and to a place where Jodi feels more comfortable in, unless she had Ruby completely under her thumb at that stage. So I'd say complete indoctrination. What she did was she put herself in their home, made them feel comfortable, completely indoctrinated Ruby over time. Ruby ousted Kevin, and now Jodi's even more influential. Now Jodi got Ruby. Now Jodi starts controlling the kids, get them to a place where she controls. Because sociopaths and psychopaths do that. They get you into a place. It's all about control, manipulation, probability of errors, and isolation. Exactly. So what she did was she controlled her mind, and she gained the influence in the family home, the familial home. And then when she completely had her indoctrinated, she moved her to a place that she could control. There was no onlooking neighbors. There was no people missing the presence of the children, because nobody knew the family in the area.
Isolated. Extremely. If you watch the documentaries, you'll see. You're not. You were like hitting the nail on.
It was.
It's like Jonestown. You know, the reason they brought them to Jonestown in Guyana is because of all of the authorities and all of the attention they were getting in the States. It's the reason he exported his followers to a different country. You take your people away from prying eyes so you can exert your control over them completely and totally. So that's what, like look at North Korea. What you do is you take away all the outside influences, and then you've got complete control. So that's what Jodi did. She took them out of the place where everybody's like, nobody's going to miss them in this place if nobody knows them in this place. And I think that's why she brought them. So I honestly believe Jodi is completely a fault.
Sean, I want to hear your opinion, and then we're going to wrap it up.
No, I think honestly, when you said the thing about the convention, and we had talked about this way back when she came in there with a plan, I think they were just a victim. They were victims of their own, attachments to religion, cognitive dissonance. I mean, there's so many things that played into this, and the detachment. And this is the part I think that is the most tragic. I think the mom was already detached from her responsibility as the mother. And I think Kevin was too, as the dad. Like, his job was to go to work, and her job was to take care of the home. And there wasn't a super connection to the kids because the mother treated the kids as a commodity. In the way she talked about them, it just seemed like it was separated, right? Before the whole Jodi thing happened. But then that whole spark that lit everything was this connection at that convention. And I think it took Ruby where she wanted to go. I really do. I don't think she was into the mother thing. I think she was into the fact that they were making her money and she was getting all this attention
they were more objects at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so easy to disassociate from objects, right? Mm-hmm. And especially when you've got somebody behind you saying they're demonically possessed. Well, then, ew, And
I think that the journals, they solidify the fact that she believes this. Like, this is like, she's not questioning herself. She's saying these things. She's stating in there, these are choices of sinful, these are sinful choices that they're making by, not being able to control their bowels and blah, which is probably them retaliating against the punishments that they're enduring. The wall sits, the being stuck outside. Like, I'd be retaliating too. The kid even says, "Hey, Russell ran away. I found him 2 hours later." Like, they are fighting back.
The sad thing about that is their protest probably fed into her delusion even more.
Yes, it did.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It was just crazy.
Which, from a kid's aspect, is so fucked up. It's so fucked up that they're sitting here thinking, if I retaliate, maybe she'll see. But the only thing it did was strengthen the belief that what she was doing was the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And here's the other thing. We didn't talk about the fact that she was a stay-at-home mom. She got so enveloped into this when it happened. It took off. And so she had probably get the kids up, get them dressed, get them off to school. And that was her day to day. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to start blogging. Oh, hey, now people like what I'm doing. And this is clearly what God wants. I'm starting to get paid for it. So single, stay-at-home mom to success to this is where I'm going.
The American dream. It's the American dream, isn't it? Like, did she have the 7 kids before she started being a vlogger?
6. It was 6 kids.
She's 6. Oh, yeah, 2 parents is the 8.
Yes.
Yeah,
the oldest was 12 and 11. Those were the oldest 2.
I think she was probably like Sean said, a detached parent. But I just say it's like, without knowing the woman, I'd say it was just Ruby being Ruby. Like, I don't want to keep saying, like, I don't want to keep taking any kind of culpability away from Ruby, but I say it was just Ruby being Ruby in terms of, like, she was probably just a terrible mother. Like, you know what I mean? She was detached. Like, how was she raised is one thing as well. Nature, nurture, it's the age-old thing, chicken, egg. Does she act like this because this is the way she was treated? Like, is Ruby created or is Ruby developed? You know what I mean? Like, did she develop because of outside influences? Was she parented in this way and this is how she thought? It's like what you said earlier on about normal. What's normal? Normal is what you know in a day-to-day circumstance. Your environment creates your sense of normality. So I'd say I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Like, I've raised my daughter completely differently than I was raised, but I would not be surprised if Ruby raised her children in the same way she was raised. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a common practice from the sect of Mormonism that she came from, and Kevin, because they're a very tight-knit group usually. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ruby and Kevin knew each other for a long time before they ever got married. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin was raised in a similar way.
Almost like set up through the church kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if their parental style was any different. I would be surprised if their parental style was any different from what they grew up in terms of their neighborhood, in terms of their influences from both their parents. So I'd say there was obviously a detachment and aloofness from the way they grew up. That's why they didn't see any strangeness to it. But when Jodi came into it, that's when it became extreme. So I think I don't want to take away too much blame from Ruby and Kevin, because obviously Kevin's a weak bitch. He should have had some more control over his family. He didn't see his children for a year. He allowed a lot of this to happen. But I think what happened was Ruby was a detached person, and I think a form of psychosis was set upon her because of the influence of Jodi in her life, and due to her religious beliefs and the way they viewed life. Everything that we get is preordained by God's will. So I just think, I say Ruby was probably influenced by her own parents and her own upbringing in terms of her parental style, but I just think, I don't want to keep taking all the blame away from Ruby and Kevin, but I think
Jodi, it's hard. It's funny because during my research, I kept toggling back and forth. But I think Ruby is definitely to blame for the direction it went.
Yeah.
But there's a point where that almost detaches onto Jodi.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Because once upon a time, Ruby was the dominant influence in the family's life. And then she was eventually replaced by Jodi.
What do you got, Sean? You've been quiet.
No, I think I agree with what you guys are saying. I do believe that when this Jodi figure came in, with a plan and everything, I think she was just such an overbearing personality, but I think it was way more insidious than her just bulldozing her way through. Mm-hmm. I think it was very methodical, and as she gained, the others were lessened. And
I liked that. She was almost absorbing that. Jodi was feeding off of that.
Absolutely. So
succubus, like I said earlier.
Well, I was gonna say, if you want to talk about demonic possession, I would point a hefty finger at Jodi.
The three of us should do a show. Actually, Sean, you haven't done your conspiracy theory show in a while. You should have us as guests.
we should bring him on to Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes, Cuckoo's Nest, man. Well, we're talking about Rothschild. I guess this is a good time to wrap it up. Thank you guys who have been tuning in. Next Tuesday, him and I are doing our third episode of Two Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I think Sean would probably love the pun on that. We're going to talk about Pax Judaica. I kind of want to dive into the Rothschilds and BlackRock. I think those are a couple big hits to touch on because they all kind of tie in together as I'm starting to research back into the late 1800s when the Rothschilds come over to the U.S. and the influence they have. I don't want to get too much into it because it's going to be a lot to dive into, but I want you guys to know that it's coming next Tuesday night. Sean, if you're free at 10:30 your time, that's when we'll be doing it.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
Yeah, it's exciting. And this was Vinnie's idea. I'm not good at the political history. But I do.
Well, it's a lot of fun though.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. As the network grows, it's a controversial topic, but I want to remain as unbiased as possible, but present the facts. That's what JG's Lounge is about. I don't want to be one-sided. I don't care if people hate something that we said. That's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, because
there's going to be something who doesn't like what we have to say. That's fine, but I do want to stay unbiased on everything we talk about.
Even with the Epstein files, we just presented the information and the facts as we found it. We didn't give an opinion on one stage or another, except they're obviously monsters. But
yes.
we literally in a situation with geopolitical circumstances, it's best to keep your own personal morality and opinion to one side as much as possible. Present the facts, allow the people to gather the information that we provided to them, allow them to go out, expand on the information. That's all we can do. We spoke about the Epstein files twice. We spoke a little bit about AI because it's so interesting. We couldn't help ourselves. We were like, let's wrap up the show. We were like, let's wrap up the show, and then we went into a 20-minute conversation about AI before we went off air. So that was amazing. But like next week when we speak about Pax Judaica, we speak about the Rothschilds, we speak about these growing influences. it's not our opinion. It's not about in terms of how we view the things in terms of our morality. So if you disagree with us, you're disagreeing with the facts that as we discovered them. It's not our opinion. We're just trying to provide people with information, things that we find interesting, things that we believe that are important, especially now in the current socio-political society that we're living in and the environment that we're living in with all that's going on in the Middle East and greater in Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. But I think right now it's not about opinions, it's not about morality, it's about information, and that's all we're trying to provide with Cuckoo's Nest.
Right.
So if you disagree with us, it's totally cool. But that's
if you disagree with us, I want you to continue watching.
Yeah, disagree with us, comment and tell us why you disagree with us. We will talk to you. We will have discourse because that's what's important in today's society. Discourse.
Yep. All right, that's what we got. Sean,
thanks for
anything
having
else?
us.
No, I just, you say it's about facts. I say it's about good versus evil. And if you think that evil doesn't exist in the world, you're fucking nuts. But that's
even if it does, there's still a fact. Like it's still down to facts. It's no if good or evil exist, they're both still facts in the terms of their existence and presence. So facts is the major thing. What's behind
Vinnie?
fact?
All right,
sorry,
we got.
All right, I got 2 more hours. Right, let's just break and we go 2 more hours. A quick 2 more.
Hey, everybody that's tuned in. There's been a couple of you that have been hanging out this whole, pretty much the whole time. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful evening. Vinnie, Sean's got his shows on this network as well. You can find all of our stuff right here on JG's Lounge. Until next time, guys, we'll see you around.
Keep growing, Jukebox. You're a legend.